Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of ScreamCity? Never mind, I think I found it.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to ScreamCity. I'm your host Monica.
And I'm Jessica, and today we'll be discussing the 2022 film X.
I'm excited. But before we jump into the movie, just what has been your peak and pit of these past few days?
I don't know. Well, my pit is that I had a rough weekend at work. I only work weekends, like Saturday and Sunday.
And weekends are the worst.
And weekends are literally the worst in any sort of urgent/emergency.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, it was just pretty like,
Sometimes it also just sets the mood for like the rest of your week.
Yeah. I know. So, like I was just telling Monica, like there was a situation that happened at work, like a really sad one, and I've just been thinking about it like ever since, but
it's super sad.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my pit, right? My peak is that
we're still looking for one.
I am still alive.
Okay.
So,
you know what? That is
and I'm
really
gonna have game night with my gals
I was
tonight.
literally about to say, I think that's going to be my peak as well. That we get to hang out again as all of us, because I feel like we don't do it enough. So hopefully this becomes a regular thing,
right?
Of hanging out. So that's my peak too. So that's good.
What's
hanging out with you guys and doing my pit. I'm going through a little bit of a personal thing, and so it's kind of dragging. But then I also had a really sad case at work that also has been sticking with me that happened like sometime last week, and it just sucks because you just don't think. I mean, I feel like I've desensitized, unfortunately, to a lot of things, but this was one of those things that just really hit home and hit like a reminder of like why I do what I do. So it was a really sad reminder, but
same.
I still think about it. So, but it's fine. We've moved past it. Moment's gone. We're moving on.
Anyway,
but let's talk about why we're here, which is X.
Yeah,
and
getting
I'm so excited. That's also
the
part
sad
of my
shit
peak.
away. Finally getting into this movie. Again, if you haven't watched this movie, just know that there will be spoilers, so don't say we didn't warn you.
And this movie has been out for a year.
Yeah.
So
but just to give a brief summary of the movie, and this is coming straight from Google.
Love Google. Hey, girl.
Hey. A group of actors sets out to make an adult film in rural Texas. Rural. Okay, Scooby-Doo. Rural Texas. Under the noses of their reclusive hosts. But when the elderly couple catches their young guest in the act, the cast find themselves in a desperate fight for their lives.
I will say, I've never actually read the summary for X, and that's so funny, like, to sort of hear it that way. And so, I guess with that being said, do you have your top 3 of your favorite scene, your favorite kill, and then your first impression?
Yes. So, my favorite scene, listen, one thing about me, which I don't know if I've mentioned before, is I love a good cold open.
Cold open?
Cold open, yeah. A cold open, yeah. Which is basically what happened here in X. We started out with, prior to... No,
like the events.
After the event.
Oh, well, the aftermath of, like, the events that happened during the movie.
I love it. I'm just like, yes, I want to know more. Like, every time I write a story, I like to write a cold open.
It's kind of like it starts how it finishes.
Yes.
So you kind of are intrigued as to know, damn,
like, what just happened. Yeah.
That's a scene.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, and I like the overall, just the opening scene was I thought it was very well filmed overall. Yeah. And I just really liked, favorite scene is opening scene, which is just like jumping directly into a story, it's at the beginning of the movie. It's so good. I like that. Favorite kill. I probably should have started with my first impression. Anyway,
whichever.
My favorite kill. Okay, I'm gonna say they were all really.
I loved
good.
Every single kill in this movie.
They were all really good. But to me personally, I feel like none of them beat how well executed Lorraine's was.
Oh my gosh.
This bitch. Oh my god, that shit was so funny, y'all.
Yes.
That shit was
It was very
so
personal.
funny.
And it was, I think it was one of the peak kills in 100%. This film.
I just thought it was so funny the way that this bitch just like flies.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's funny.
So hers is, I think, you definitely, my fave, but I gotta go with, like, I also really like Wayne's.
Wayne's is good.
Like, that element of surprise.
Yeah, I love Wayne's.
And
Wayne's is funny because it kind of leads into, like, oh, he's about to die.
And, trust me, we will talk about this, but it was definitely foreshadowed just as well as, like, almost everyone's death was foreshadowed.
Was that one? You'll have to tell me about that one because I don't know if I could have.
Okay,
yeah. All right.
But... Yes.
Okay.
I like both Lorraine and Wayne's. Lorraine's, I think, just like the comedic.
Yeah. I put it in one of mine as well because I chose two as well, and Lorraine's was one of them because of that reason. Yeah. So yeah.
But Wayne's anything that like deals with the eyes at any time,
like eyes, mouth, even hand stuff.
Yeah.
It's
or
just
feet.
So, yeah.
Just like our most vulnerable parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally getting into first impression.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually watched this for the first time with Monica and our gang.
Yeah.
Melody and Gina. I don't think Julie went with us.
Julie wasn't there for that one. Okay. But it was us four.
Yeah.
And that was
it was a ride. I enjoyed the movie. Mm-hmm. Did I enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to?
Right.
No.
The first time that you watched it, or just like in general?
In general.
Okay.
I honestly don't really know what I was, expecting.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely saw trailers for it. Like, me personally.
Yeah, same.
Like, actually sat down and watched a trailer.
Right.
So I was just kind of going, I know you had watched it prior to watching it with us.
I thought I watched it with you guys first. I watched it prior.
You did.
On my own?
Yes.
Okay. See, I thought it was reversed, but I guess yes, because I think I do remember watching it and then desperately saying, like, we need to all watch this together.
Yeah. I will give it to them. The gore in this movie was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely
Chef's kiss.
amazing. It was so good. The gore was good. The scares were really good too. Kind of like the creepiness, the eeriness.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I hate to be that person, but anytime there's like an older person,
old people creep me out.
Like The Visit, hate it.
No,
I love
I love it, but I hate it.
I love it, but like, real quick, like that scene in The Visit where they're under the, what is it? They're under the house or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And she's chasing her.
I hate that
hate that scene.
Anything that involves with like people crawling on the floor and chasing is fucking awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 100%. And then on top it's an old lady. What you doing?
Like, old people just make me uncomfortable in general. So
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, what about you?
I guess that can transition into my first impression as well. So my first impression, I guess, I thought was with you guys, but I guess I did watch it with Mateo first. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this film. So I think I'm just going to be biased for the whole thing because everything about this film was amazing to me. I loved the cast. I loved the plot. I loved the cinematography, especially the music, and just the overall gore that this movie provided me with. So I left the theater needing to tell everyone about this, which is why I guess I dragged all three of you to go watch this because I was like... I remember
you were really excited. You were like, I loved this movie so much.
It was so good to me. And I don't know what it is about like A24 films. I mean, I know what it is about it. Yeah. It's just the aesthetic and like the production and everything that goes into these A24 movies. But I think also because I also didn't have expectations for this movie, I think 2022 gave us a pretty good lineup of horror films, and I was pretty impressed with a lot of them. And X was definitely like the number one top favorite. And then following along with that, later in the year, we got Pearl. Mm-hmm. And I loved Pearl. It's not on the same level as X, but I loved it just as much. And it just showed me how much I love Mia Goth.
And we just got, what is it, like a a teaser for Maxine.
Did we?
We did.
Are they?
It's a teaser, so it's not like the full
like
trailer.
the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I don't think we have a release date for Maxine yet, but I will be in theaters the day before,
Yes.
and I will be sleeping in the theater that they are planning to show it in.
Okay.
That way, I can just wake up and like be excited.
I love that.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's as much as I can say. That I just really love this film. I did watch it twice in theater for that reason. The subtle and like also the subtle hints that, and I think this is in the thing that A24 does in general, but the subtle hints like in the background, and goddamn that those southern accents.
Oh my gosh.
Them southern accents
They
got
were
me hard.
Okay.
Oh well, not in that way. It's hard.
Okay.
That was misinterpreted. I
Oh,
just meant
yeah,
like they
absolutely.
really got to me.
Okay.
They took out the southern in me.
Yeah.
I also like. I just think that every person that acted in this did a southern accent as well as they could, and
Yeah.
it was believable, and
Yeah.
I loved it. And just to think that oh my gosh, who is it? Martin Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
He's British.
He's
from
New
English.
Zealand. He's a Kiwi.
He's New Zealand.
He's Kiwi. Uh-huh.
He's Kiwi.
Which he went back to his home country, his homeland to film this because this was filmed in New Zealand.
I was gonna say, I remember them saying that this was filmed somewhere else, and then right after they filmed X, they filmed Pearl, like kind of back to back. Which I mean, they really only
If
needed
I'm not
me a golf for
mistaken,
it.
I think right after this, I was gonna say Wednesday, Jenna Ortega either got the role for Wednesday or she was gonna start filming Wednesday.
Like soon after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, good for her. She's also. I mean, we're gonna get into the cast a little bit later, which is not that big of a cast because I think there's like a total of 7 people.
Yeah.
But overall, and then just like how it's a very the small tribute to Texas Chainsaw.
I was literally
Yeah,
going to
because
say
it's heavy
that.
on the vibes of
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw, and
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with it, and I love it. So choosing my favorite scene was definitely a hard one because I am so serious when I say that I loved every minute of this movie. But a favorite is either when Pearl is dancing after killing RJ in front of the van, #dancing queen, because she hit every note and she knows how to sway. But I think like it was just overall funny and disturbing. But I also love the red vibe. I was telling my brother-in-law how much I love a red scene in any movie, really. But like in a horror movie, it just hits a little bit different because red equals blood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it was. Like the splatter against like the headlights.
I will say that they went out with a bang on the first one, 100%.
They really did.
And
his first kill, the first kill that we got in that movie was RJ's,
Yeah.
but it was really good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Me too.
The before and after too, like how he's ready to take off, which also RJ's is a pretty, I want to say it's a well-deserved kill because he started acting a bit of an asshole towards the end.
Just because his girly pop
Because his girly pop wanted to be in the film and he wanted to
Yeah.
tell her no, and she's like, you don't tell me what to do. And I
Right.
said, good for you.
Yeah.
And like how he's driving the van and then he ends up like we get like that jump scare of her being in the middle of a road. And my brother-in-law was like, see, I find that more terrifying, like an old lady in a nightgown wandering the streets versus like Leatherface or like
See,
Michael Myers.
One thing about me, if I would have seen that lady in the middle of the road,
She going with me. Like I'm taking her out of my van. Like I'm running her over.
okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
My
ma'am.
wording was not great on that one, but
Yeah, is
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not stopping.
Okay,
Because what if she's a ghost?
100%. Yeah, if
Her
it's a
time was up
ghost,
anyway.
Like, you know, she's fixing to become a ghost. If you know what I mean.
She's a death knocking on her door.
I mean, it's been knocking on her door. If we think about it, this
She's just hesitating to open the door.
Yeah.
So I'm opening that door for her.
good. Thank you. We appreciate that.
By running her over.
Yeah.
So I thought like the beginning of that kill is really good. And I just really, but like the scene after it is also just really well because something about her, I think something about that kill really put adrenaline in her or made her feel some type of way, but it looks like as also she started to feel sexy. And so she was like, I can kill men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
So I really like that scene. It's like the vibe of it all. Now my favorite kill, like we said, there was a lot of really good kills in this, but my personal favorite would have to be between RJ's, because again, it was satisfying. And I overall just really liked it. Again, the before and after of that whole scene was just really good. But I also really like Lorraine's as well. It was a really hard laugh and a gasp. Like, it was gasp and then laugh right after, because it was instant. It was funny. It was like, where did that bitch go? And then I also like, it was a 10 out of 10 kill, first of all. It was like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it was also a bit of a jump scare, too. So it was great. But I also like how her death led to Howard's death. And I think Howard's death was pretty funny as well. Like, imagine getting in a good nut and then, like, after so many years, and then that's not what kills you. What kills you is a jump scare.
100%.
Literally, a jump scare.
Yeah. Because Lorraine somehow...
I think she was gasping for her last breath. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was. But I just think it's so funny how he probably felt so elevated and was like, I finally get to have sex with my wife. Like, it's not a fear of mine animore.
And then a jump scare takes him out.
The jump scare is what takes him out. And then Pearl starts like, oh my husband. Her shot, the shot that Maxine took at Pearl was also really funny, because she went flying. Or no. Pearl went flying
after
because
attempting to...
that was also
That
hilarious.
shit was funny.
And then you just hear, my hip.
And that's also foreshadowed.
And that's true. And so I just thought that was also funny. So
Yeah.
one death led to another, but I just think it was all like put together very well.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But I love this movie so much.
Me too.
I loved it. But we can now praise everyone who is in this movie. So
of course. So getting a little bit into the cast, and I know we say this in almost every episode, but again, this was a great cast.
I'm obsessed with everyone who is in this movie.
Absolutely. Of course, we have Mia Goth as Maxine, Jenna Ortega, sorry, I have to say that very proudly, as Lorraine, Kid Cudi as Jackson.
Cudi. My sister was like, I really want to know how Kid Cudi ended up on this film. And I was like, I don't know. And I'm going to be honest, I don't care. I just know he did an amazing job. And I loved seeing him on screen.
Absolutely. He's very handsome.
Very.
Brittany Snow, loved her as Bobby Lynn, Owen Campbell as RJ, Martin Henderson as Wayne, and Stephen...
Is it Yuri?
Yuri? As Howard.
Yeah, I love every single one of these people, because I think this is like a crowd of people that we see in so many different genres, but they all came together to like make this amazing horror film.
Yeah.
I think my brother-in-law was telling me that Brittany Snow originally took this role because she wanted to push her acting, or like to see maybe what other... Yeah, like maybe kind of see what type of, like, if she can fit in this genre. And I think she fit well.
Yeah, 100%.
She gave funny, she gave face.
If I'm not mistaken, 100%. Oh, girl. Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, I think she said that she researched a lot of Dolly Parton for her role.
I love.
Because she was like, to me, Dolly Parton is like, you know, basically a sex symbol. You know,
she is.
And her hair, like, I don't know, just everything. And honestly, the more, after I read that, when I watched it again, I was like, yeah, I see
She's
it.
giving Dolly.
She is giving Dolly.
She's giving Queen.
Yeah.
And I like Southern Queen, Southern Belle. And I think, I think it's something, I don't think it's hard to fuck up a Southern accent.
Right.
I think you can.
But I will say, the Southern Texan accent from, like, the earlier day, like the earlier year, like, 70s or whatever, it was very prominent. And it was very thick.
It was a lot harsh.
I know an older woman who, you know, her whole life
Grew up
here in Texas. She went to high school here and everything, and she has a
She got a thick one on her.
Southern Texan accent.
Even now, like, if we were to go somewhere else, people would be like, where the hell are you from?
I will say
I'm from
Texas. You know, sometimes if the Lord see fit,
oh my God. If the Lord see fit,
I'm going to be 11 in May. No, but what I was going to say is that I have gotten comments, for example, this is the most random example ever, but a million years ago, my sister and I went to a concert, right? Mm-hmm. We met the lead singer of one of our favorite bands, and they are all British. And I remember he said something like, y'all have, he didn't say y'all because he's British, but he was like, y'all have such a strong Texan accent. And I'm like, where?
Where are you noticing that? Where do I, please tell me so I can tweak it and so I can fix it. Yeah. Because I will say there are some days where I love being Southern, and then there's other days where I'm like, I'm really ashamed to be Southern. Yeah. So don't get me wrong, it's the accent.
I love the accent. I really do. I just don't
love the idea of a Southern belle.
Yes. Right.
A little bit of a Southern
Do I want to execute her? Like, do I want to be her?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
No, I think I'm good. But I will say Dolly is, I 100%. Love that she took the idea and ideology of what Dolly Parton is, because she fit so well for the role that she had.
100%.
And I think she gave it such justice. And I loved every minute.
She teased that hair up to Jesus.
She teased that hair up to Jesus, and Jesus was jealous.
Jesus sure was jealous, because, listen, no offense to Mr. Jesus, but his hair's a little flat.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of flat.
It's not really given.
It's not. I will say,
but I love the cast.
Martin Henderson.
I was going to say, Martin Henderson did such an amazing job in this.
From Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
I'm not even going to front with y'all. I know this man from Grey's Anatomy. I know he was on, was it the sequel or the remake of The Strangers?
He was in the sequel.
The sequel.
I think.
Okay.
Or, I need to get my facts straight, but I think he plays the dad.
Okay.
I think.
And listen, for a 50-something-year-old man, he looking pretty fit.
He does look fit.
Mm-hmm.
He do be looking fit. He first of all, I don't know, there was just something about the character of Wayne that I enjoyed so much, because he has.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, he has the characteristics of being a creep, but he doesn't give me creep vibes.
At all.
I was like, I feel like I should be offended by your character, but I'm not. Yeah. If anything, I love, because he stands up for his, like, women. Like, he stands up for Bobby Lynn and for Maxine after RJ tries to be like, Lorraine's a good girl. And he was like, first of all, none of them are good girls. And I was like, I don't know what you mean by that.
I think he said, like, when RJ said, Lorraine is not like them, she's a good girl, he's like, I beg your pardon.
I was like, ooh, he about to go in them. He got so offended.
No, same. I was gonna say, I think he had the capability of being a douche 100%.
And he wasn't.
But he was a Southern, what's the opposite of Belle?
He's a Southern.
He's a gentleman.
He's a gentleman. He's a Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
Gentleman.
And again, like, at the beginning he kind of gave creep vibes to me, but after he was so, like, willing to help Lorraine after Lorraine.
Like, oh, damn it, I can't let you go out there by yourself. He's like, so I have to
sweet.
It was, I mean, he got him killed. But
he sure did.
But the fact that he was like, I'm fit enough to walk out there in my undies.
In my tidy waddies.
I'm not going to give, because you can see how passionate he is about the film.
Yeah.
I also am obsessed with the scene where they finished filming Bobby Lynn and Kid Cudi's, like, sex scene. He's like, people's eyes are going to pop out of their skulls. And then he's like, it's because I'm not making a dirty movie. They were talking about how you can make a dirty movie a good movie. So RJ's like passionate about making film, but then like Wayne is like passionate about making a dirty movie. So he was just like, it's going to be the greatest thing they've ever seen. Like I love that scene. And then Wayne ends it with like, feel how hard my cock is, and he just grabs his hand and sets it there, and then he's like, RJ's like, okay. I guess. And I'm just like, excitement. He's just so genuinely excited.
I feel like nowadays we don't have the passion that
I now
Wayne
have the
has.
passion. Yes. I think we all can take a little bit of Wayne's inspiration and of his,
apply that to our everyday lives.
Yeah, like how passionate you have to be about something and excited, even if it starts off something with so small.
It's gotta make you hard.
If it don't make you hard, you ain't doing it right, or you're not as excited as you should be. Again, because of the cast and like the execution that they gave each character, I can't hate this film. But for some, just to kind of push a little bit, so there are some things that we did decide to do some research for, and so we will try to continue that from now on. But one of the fun facts came straight from the cast. So the first one that we'll say is Mia Goth, who plays Maxine. and Pearl, for those of you who did not know. So she had to start prosthetics for Pearl at 3 a.m. because it took her 7 hours to apply. And then she still had to go for so many hours filming the movie. So I genuinely was trying to be like, who plays this old lady? Little to know, it was Mia Goth.
I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
I will say, watching it back again, the only similarity that I hear, basically hear, is just their voice. It's just like Pearl's voice is Mia Goth.
Just a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And like not softer, well kind of, but more like giving old lady.
No, yeah, 100%.
She's really good at playing psycho, like a character of someone who's just so crazy and like deranged.
Unhinged, yeah.
Because she was the same way in Pearl. I also watched Infinity Pool, which is a newer film.
Oh yeah.
She also the movie is so mind fucking and it's really weird, but I loved it. And she also plays someone who's really deranged and like crazy and insane, and she plays it so well. And I don't know what it is because her voice also gives younger. And so I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is.
She has like again, I think this is very well known. She has a very interesting voice.
She does.
And I don't think it fits her face. And I don't mean that like in any sort of bad way. It just threw me off when I heard it for the first time.
I saw an interview of her and I was like, oh, that's how she talks.
Yeah.
I was like, that's literally how she talks.
Yeah.
I mean, given the accent too, I was like, oh, she also has an accent on top of everything. So
I will say real quick, when I watched the trailer, I mean, I did watch like the trailer like one time, but this was one time, right? Mm-hmm. When I watched the trailer, I was like, I can't tell who's Jenna Ortega. Because I knew who Jenna Ortega was. Right. I didn't know who Mia Goth was at the time. And I was like, who's Jenna Ortega? Which one is she? Because I think in the trailer, the scene of them in the van is like, you know, they show it.
Right.
And I don't know. I think maybe just because they had the same like kind of hairstyle, I could not tell which one was Jenna Ortega. I was like, is it the first girl? Is it the girl in the back?
Another one? I will say, because Jenna, so I mean, you can say is a bit controversial, just to kind of put it out there as well, just so that people don't think that we don't know. So this was a very adult film, and Jenna Ortega was, I believe, 18 or 19. 19. I'm gonna say I think she was 19, because I also don't think that this movie took too long to film.
Right.
And so she was 19. Now, what I do appreciate about the film is that, you know, obviously Brittany Snow and Maxine have nude scenes, but Jenna Ortega does not. So that's something I will say, you know, give credit where it's due. So they didn't have to show her nude, because they did insinuate that she was going to be in the film. And so, you know, with Kid Cudi or whatever. But we did get a shot of her of being like in a bra and panties, which I was like, okay. I just had to put that out there because I was like, we know that she was really young. But anyway, a very adult film. So if you've never seen this movie before, it's very adult. There's nudity in this.
You see Kid Cudi's everything.
I will say, I
think that was a jump scare on its own. I said, my Lord. I think the whole movie theater just kind of got quiet.
Sir, put that thing away. So,
do you have a license to carry?
Do you have a license to carry? Because Lord have mercy. So if you've never seen the movie, we don't get a full, you know, light intercourse type scene of what his situation looks like, but we get a really far shot of him standing in the doorway, where his lower half of his body is shadowed, so you can only imagine. You let your imagination run, because we see outline. And this man apparently sleeps naked. So when he answered the door, or when he was walking around the house naked when he woke up at like 3 a.m., we see that outline. And it's just hanging by his knee. It was knee length, I think, or at least mid thigh. There's a lot of ass and titties in this. So be warned. Anyway, be warned if you've never seen it. So moving on.
Another thing or fun fact that I kind of noticed was that the guy that Lorraine finds dead, hanging from, or in the cellar, when, you know, she does her iconic scream.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, me
She
too.
has a really good horror scream.
She sure does.
It's
Her and
great.
Mia Goth both have really good screams. So the guy that she finds, again,
Yeah.
dead, is actually on the milk carton that Jackson is drinking in the next scene as a missing person.
Oh shit! I never noticed that.
Yeah.
See, it's like these little like background details and these little like Easter eggs that you find throughout the film are so like, oh my god! It makes you excited because it
And-
makes you look for them on purpose too.
I have a question. His pants were down, right?
Who?
The dead man's in the cellar?
Yes.
They were down. So my question is, were they using him as kind of like a sex slave?
I'm gonna be honest, maybe. I mean, knowing as deranged as Pearl is, she's very
And how horny?
So we can only imagine. They only gave us the body and the aftermath of what it looks like. So, and a lot of people thought that it was RJ because he kind of looks like RJ.
I was going to say, I thought it was RJ
I
too.
thought it was RJ too, but no.
But I mean, no, because RJ was decapitated at one, like, eventually, because of how many times
oh, that's true. She stabbed him in the neck
Yeah.
quite a few times. That's true. That's true. It's true.
I
She had a lot of
100%
arteries.
did think it was RJ at first.
Yeah, because it looks like him. It has the glasses. He's like his frame as well, like overall. But that's funny. I didn't know that he was in the milk carton. And then also a lot of like the deaths were foreshadowed
Yes.
quite a bit. And I think the one that I think stood out to me the most was Brittany Lynn's.
Bobby Lynn. Brittany. Yes.
Brittany Lynn.
Brittany's.
Miss Brittany Lynn. Miss Brittany Snow,
Lynn
aka
Snow.
Bobby Lynn.
Yeah.
Hers is foreshadowed because when they're leaving the club from Texas, the outside of the club is a blonde girl who looks pretty much like Bobby Lynn. She has like the curly blonde hair. And then there's an alligator pulling on the back of her underwear. So kind of like the
mural.
The mural,
mural.
is what it is. It's an alligator that's pulling on her underwear, which I'm trying to think. Is it gold spawn? No. What's the product that shows? I think it's like a baby powder or something. Or it's like a child product, like a baby product, but basically like a dog or something is pulling on the baby's like diaper or underwear or something. So it's kind of giving that. I'm trying to think of what the product is, but I can't remember.
I
It's a really
know
old-
exactly what you're
It's
thinking
a really
of.
old product. But anyway, it was exactly that. And it was like, obviously it was on a swamp and everything. And then that's how Bobby Lynn dies. She ends up getting eaten by an alligator, which that scene was hilarious. I love that death, by the way, because one, it was foreshadowed and I thought it was really cool to see. But two, she was trying to be a genuine Southern belle and help this deranged old lady, just to find out that the old lady is awful.
Yeah.
And then she ends up pushing her into the lake. But
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were 3 animatronic.
were
I
they
think they were
animatronic?
3 animatronic alligators.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I love it. I love to see it. Which I thought it was only the one. I also, oh my God. Okay, again, I'm sorry. I just really love this movie and everything about it. But I loved the scene where Mia is, or where Maxine is swimming. And you're so close to thinking that she's about to get eaten. But the shot of the actual scene is so cool because it's from like up top. So all you see is her naked body swimming. And then like, she doesn't notice because she's swimming, but like it's such a clear picture of how close the alligator gets to her.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a really cool scene, and that one was a really good shot as well. But
Another-
anyway, you said that.
Yes, another death that was foreshadowed. I mean, there's, I think, 2 more if I'm not mistaken, but another death that was foreshadowed was Wayne's. And you said this
Oh
exact
my God,
you said this exact same
that is hilarious.
line. But when Wayne says people's eyes are gonna pop out when they see this, you know,
That is,
and that's
literally-
exactly what happened to him.
Yeah,
His
that
eyes
is
were
literally what happened to him. His eyes
out.
got gouged out. I also find it. I was dying laughing when after she kills him. So she pops his eyes out, and then she goes in the barn and she like stabs him, and then she like. She's so old and fragile, so she's like using the pitchfork to cover him up with like the hay.
I thought that was so cute.
funny.
And then Jackson's is kind of the same. When he tells the group and Howard, whenever Howard goes to the barn house, well, not the barn house, but like
the outhouse that they have in the back.
that they have. Jackson said that he had enough farmers trying to shoot him while he was serving in Vietnam.
In Vietnam, he did say that. Like he's basically like saying that like I've been
Yeah.
shot at too many times
Yeah.
or whatever the hell.
And then a farmer shot
and then
him.
a farmer literally shoots him and he dies.
And I don't remember, but Howard at one point said, like, he was like, my heart and all of that. His was just overall. Oh, was it Wayne who said, we don't want to give that old man a heart attack or whatever? And then
I think so.
Dying of a heart attack or
and he
like
ended
that.
up having a. Someone did say that. I think it was Wayne. Oh, I think it was Wayne because I think they were talking about because Jenna Ortega or Lorraine said something like they don't know what we're doing out here and whatever, and then they were like, yeah, he'd have a heart attack if he. I don't know. He said something like that within those lines, and then he ended up having a heart attack because he fucking sucks. I love that. I love knowing that almost every death in this movie was foreshadowed.
Yeah.
Did you say that Pearl's was also foreshadowed? Because she ends up fucking
yes.
She tosses herself by
Howard. Oh, what does he say? I forgot what he says, but he's like, she has like hip problems or something like that.
Oh,
I don't remember the exact line or quote that he says, but
like
he did.
Ill.
He was like, we have to go a little slower with her because she has like, her hips are bad or whatever. And then she's like, my hip.
I thought that was so funny because she shoots herself out of the house, like completely out. I was like, that's how fragile that bitch was. The what?
That bitch went flying too.
She went flying so hard, and this shit was the funniest thing.
That girl, Red Bull gives you wings.
Oh my gosh, that shit was so funny. And Maxine was like, okay, and then she just runs her over. Which shout out to her for being the final girl.
Honestly.
Okay, all right, yes, this movie was amazing. I have nothing but good things to say about this film. I'm sure I've missed a lot of the other things that I loved about this movie, but this is a movie that I will, to this day, continue to show people who are willing to watch this movie because it's pretty heavy with the gore,
right?
And heavy with the sex
nudity,
and the nudity. So whoever's comfortable with that,
yeah,
I would be happy to show this film too. But anyway, okay, so I think we can move on a little bit and do a little. Would you
rather? I'm sorry, I wasn't ready.
I'm keeping that in. That was funny. Start again. Doing a little. Would you rather? Yeah. Okay. So for this film. Would you rather get eaten by an alligator? So we're gonna do with kills, because I think it's only right that we respect the kills in this movie because they were all so great. So would you rather get eaten by an alligator? So die the way Bobby Lynn dies. So you die in the scenario, regardless.
Period.
Unless you think that you can survive out of it. So go ahead. Or would you rather die the way Lorraine dies, which is she basically gets surprise shot. So she's running out of the house. And to be fair, we all thought that she was going to make it because she just runs out the house just to get shot. The way she gets shot is she wasn't expecting it. So surprise shot or eaten by an alligator? Surprise
shot.
Because you don't see it coming. So you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny because she really thought that she was going to make it out. But her fingers were fucked. That also was nasty. Which is why I say like hand things are also bad because she was so close to unlocking it just to Howard beat her ass with a hammer.
And then when Wayne stepped on that nail,
I
hated that scene too.
I'm telling you,
A Quiet Place.
Yes,
Bitch.
and she did not make a sound. Good for her.
I would have, and I would have get me. It's my time anyway.
It's my time. I gotta go. So you rather get sideswept with by being shot with the shotgun? I think I'm gonna go with the same thing. I like the element of surprise,
right?
But I will say the horror gal in me that appreciates a good gore kill scene. I would rather die eaten by an alligator. Give the people what they want. Give them a show. Go out with the bang.
Right.
You know?
No, same. I think I've always said this, but if I were, when I star in a horror film.
Yes, of course.
When we star in a horror film.
Right.
I want to get taken out in the most gory.
Like, if you're going to take me out, make my kill someone's favorite kill.
Right.
Make my kill iconic.
Please.
Even if I'm in the film for like 15 minutes.
Right.
Well, believe it or not, 15 minutes is
actually a lot of time.
Yeah. So if I'm even in it as a background person, if I'm a bystander, if I'm the first kill.
Like, you know that one death, that one scene in Jurassic Park, one of the most recent ones, I think it was like 2015 or something, where that girl gets double teamed or triple teamed at this point
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's one of the newer ones. The woman that's supposed to be watching over the two children.
Yes.
She gets picked up by some bird.
Mm-hmm. I did see that.
She gets dropped in the water tank with that big ass fucking monster.
And she ends up being eaten.
Yeah.
That right there is a cool ass kill.
Exactly.
Like, imagine getting picked up.
And she wasn't even a main character.
That is a good kill. Now that you mentioned that,
Right.
that is a good one.
I think that would have. I think I would want that one
Okay.
or something like
You
that.
know what? Yes. For the sake of now that we're kind of talking more about it, for the sake of giving a show and being someone's favorite kill, I'm gonna go ahead and say I want to be eaten by alligators.
All right.
I want to traumatize someone.
Yeah.
I've endured too much in my life, trauma. So I think the least I can do when I die is pass it on.
Right.
So that's my gift.
Yeah.
My last gift to someone. So I'm choosing alligators.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So, yeah, we're about to finish the episode, but before we do, we're going to go ahead and rate the movie. So, for this movie, it is a horror movie, so we will be rating with both of our scales, our satisfactory scale and our scary scale. So, just because a horror movie is good does not always mean it is scary, and vice versa. So, Jessica, what would you rate this movie?
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Scary scale.
Scary scale.
My scary scale will... Listen, this shit was pretty scary. It sure was.
It was given disturbing.
It was... Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give it like a good 6.
Okay. I did too.
A good 6 out of 10. Again, it was just... It was scary.
Yeah.
It was. Was it like Conjuring and Sinister? No, because it's not, those aren't slashers.
Right,
so I kind of
but
have
still.
to think of another one. But yeah, it wasn't terrifying.
Right.
You know, it didn't leave me,
But I think it did what a horror movie needed to do
especially, you know what?
for a slasher.
Yeah, and I will give it to them that they were really good kills. Yeah. Anyway, I give it a 6 out of 10 for scary. Satisfactory, a good 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I loved it. It was good.
Yeah.
But
it's
it's just
not
not one of my favorites.
right. That's okay. Yeah, my scary scale is also a 6. I think, again, it's really hard for me to be afraid or feel scared of something that I feel so excited about. But this movie does everything well for a slasher film. It takes all the good stuff. So it takes the eeriness, it takes the gore, it takes the I think the plot of this is also really good, so it helps. But it does give, like, Texas Chainsaw, and Texas Chainsaw is pretty scary. I think the thing that makes Texas Chainsaw a lot more scarier is that there were cannibals.
Right.
And thinking of someone eating someone else is a little scary.
And there's also chase scenes in Texas Chainsaw, which chase scenes to
chase
me
scenes are pretty scary. Which there's not a whole lot of chase scenes in this one. This one is more of like, I caught you, I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
So that right there is pretty scary. So yeah, I also gave it a 6 out of 10. I wasn't terrified, but it did what it had to do. It had the elements. My satisfactory scale, y'all, surprisingly, it's a 10 out of 10.
Really?
It's
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think I would give it a 10 out of 10. But then I sat with it. And I was like, I think it's only fair. No, I really did love this movie. I'm not joking when I say it made, I think, a good top 5 of my favorite films. X is so good. I will introduce this movie to whoever is willing to watch it. But any last words? Any last hee ha ha's before we
Okay, Michael Jackson.
So,
No.
anything you wanted to mention?
I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was
good too.
very good.
I loved it.
I liked the kills. I liked the gore. I liked the nudity.
The nudity was
honest.
good in this one.
I did think the nudity was pretty good.
It was giving, like, I think this is what also this film was. It was early 70s, so porn wasn't obviously fully accepted yet. It wasn't something, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, sex is still a taboo
there was a lot of porn
topic
in the 70s, though.
during this time, but I think what made the movie even more better, or what made it more fun to watch, was because of how passionate Wayne was about it, because porn was a thing, but 80s and like 70s is when like porn became like
Like,
a pop
oh.
and like boo. I also love like the porn music in this because it was getting wow wow wow
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And it's like very upbeat and like
I was like, okay.
yeah.
Oh,
so
and
it's
then
poppy.
oh my gosh, I don't want to be wrong, but is it Don't Fear the Reaper that starts playing after RJ died?
I was going to say yes. I think it is because it was playing in the van.
Oh my, y'all, when I tell y'all, this is my
That's
jam.
Yeah, I love this song.
I love this song, y'all.
Yeah, I think X can't do no bad in my eyes. It's all good. But, all right. I think it is safe to say that this concludes our episode of X. But we're now nearing the end. So, as always, we had a blast recording this. And thanks again to, of course, everyone tuning in and listening. We truly appreciate all of you. And if you want to keep up with us, we will have our social media linked down in the summary or linked in the summary of the description. And just to return the favor and appreciation, we are doing a giveaway, which we are very excited about. It's not something huge or anything, but it is just a little small gesture to show how much we wanted to thank you guys. But we will be starting our giveaway this Friday on the 14th, and it will be going on until the 18th, so just about 4 days. And we will be posting about it on our Instagram, so please look on our page to look for the rules,
and,
details, and all of that, how it's going to go down. So we're really excited, and we just really wanted to say thank you, and we seriously wouldn't even have thought that we could reach this part of the community, if that makes sense.
At this point, we're at 200.
We're over 200 followers
200.
on Instagram.
And like, I'm sure people are like, well, 200 is nothing. It's something to us.
Yeah,
okay?
It's everything to us.
Yeah.
I think what just gets, or at least it gets me so excited to see that number go up, because it just feels like, yes, we're being seen, and then more people are going to continue listening to the podcast, and that makes us really excited. But I think it's being able to interact with more people and engage with more people who enjoy the same genre that we do, that we know a lot of people don't like, and so it just feels really good. And so we'd like to open up that conversation with you guys and relationship.
And we're semi close to 10K on TikTok.
We are.
So that would be
we're
fun.
Closer now to 10K than we are to like
0.
Yeah. So that also feels really good to notice and see. So so we just wanted to thank you guys, and please look out for more details on our Instagram about that giveaway.
Yes, and I know this is literally just what Monica said, so I'm just repeating it. But again, we sincerely do appreciate all of y'all for listening and for supporting us. And we have a few events that Monica and I will be attending. So we will talk about those in later episodes before those actual events happen.
Once we get a little bit closer to
just in case y'all want to. I mean, obviously, we're not at the point where we actually have a booth.
Booth or a meet and greet, but if you guys are curious.
Walking around, I think y'all know what we look like.
At this
point.
But,
yeah, if y'all see us walking around there, just say hi. Just
say
holler.
Hi, holler. We'll try.
We'll take pictures.
Yeah. We'll take some pictures. We'll take a little video. Yeah, I think it'll be fun just to be able to put some faces to some of you guys that have actually reached out to us on like TikTok and Instagram and things like that. So we're really grateful.
Yeah.
So we're excited, and we'll discuss that a little bit more when we get to it.
So yeah, thanks again, guys, and again, we appreciate y'all so much.
Yes, and of course, as always, thank you so much for being with us. But with that being said, if you liked today's episode, please tune in to next week's episode where we talk about The Last Shift.
Yeah.
That is an interesting movie. I've seen it. Have you watched it?
I have not.
Okay, so I'm excited to see what your first impression would be because I've seen it. I don't have a lot to say, but I have some to say.
Okay. I'm excited because I know, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have to, but like you kind of have to watch Last Shift first before watching
Malum?
Malum?
I don't think that one's come out yet, though.
It hasn't, but...
Oh, but
it's like...
To kind of get... I don't know. I don't think Malum is supposed to be a sequel or a prequel. I do think it's just supposed to be...
some sort of connection, I think.
Yeah. So, I'm excited for you to watch it. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm excited for you to watch it, and I can't wait to talk about it next week. Or, yeah.
next week.
Yeah. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you guys next week. As always, we've been your host, Monica.
And Jessica.
Stay safe
And stay spooky.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
I do not deserve.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.